Today, we're diving into a really powerful story, a firsthand account of someone who completely broke the mold. This is a story all about leadership, about prejudice, and what it really takes to prove yourself when it feels like the whole world is watching. So, this was the question just hanging in the air. A question that came from pure disbelief, a question that challenged the very idea of a woman being in charge. And honestly, it's the central conflict of the story we're getting into today. It all kicked off with an announcement. An appointment that, for our hero, was this huge personal win, but also, the start of a massive institutional fight. And that was exactly her reaction the moment the city police officer, the CPO, gave her the news. Can you just imagine that feeling? A mix of, wait, is this really happening? Being chosen for a role no woman had ever held before, and at the same time, this immediate surge of determination to nail it. After thanking him, she went straight to collect her official orders. But her first steps into this new job, they weren't met with applause. Not at all. It was more like hitting a wall of silent, heavy skepticism. The resistance, it wasn't loud. Not at first, anyway. It was something you could just feel. You could see it in their faces, hear it in the sarcasm. And you could see it all over the face of her male colleague, a senior officer known as the OSI Sahib, who was with her. His expression just said it all, this blend of disbelief and sarcasm. No, to him, this wasn't progress. It was just some illogical, useless decision that was shaking up the way things were always done. Inside the office, you could cut the tension with a knife. As she walked in, the all-male staff offered up their congratulations, but the words just felt hollow. What wasn't being said was way louder. The shock, the irony. Their politeness was just the super thin mask for what they were really thinking. You know that kind of unspoken tension? It was bound to snap. And it just took one guy to say what everyone else was thinking, turning all that quiet judgment into a direct public showdown. And there it is, a sub-inspector just leaning back in his chair with a smirk, basically throws down the gauntlet. He's trying to make her appointment as Station House Officer, or SHO, sound ridiculous by twisting the logic. And the whole room just waits, watching to see how she's going to handle this. I mean, really? What do? How do you even respond to a challenge like that? The whole room is watching. They all doubt you already. Every single word you say is going to matter. Do you get angry? Do you just ignore him? What's the play? But she doesn't get angry. Instead, she hits him with this calm, razor-sharp comeback that just flips his whole argument on its head. And just like that, the entire room, which had been full of smirks a second ago, dead silent. In that moment, she didn't just dodge an insult, she started teaching them a lesson. And then, she didn't just stop there. She laid out the reality of her world. She explained this massive, often totally invisible workload that female officers carry. She's talking about juggling professional duties with family, managing homes and kids, all while you're out there conducting raids, chasing down criminals, and just trying to survive in a field that's completely dominated by men. Her point was crystal clear. This job takes a lot more than just authority. It takes a whole other level of endurance. And with that one powerful explanation, she did more than just win an argument. She completely unsettled these quiet, baked-in biases that defined their whole institution. A few guys suddenly got real busy looking down at their work. Yeah, the point had been made. So she signs the papers, leaves that tense office behind, and you'd think the hard part's over, right? Well, the battle of words might be done, but the reaction from everyone else, that was just getting started. By the time she got back to her station, her phone was absolutely exploding. The news was out and it spread like wildfire. The calls were all over the place. You had people who were genuinely happy for her. Then you had the curious ones who just wanted the gossip. And of course, you had a lot of doubters. And underneath all those calls, whether they were congratulatory or not, was this one big unspoken question, right? Could a woman really do this job? Could she actually command a male police station? This was the real hurdle, not one guy's sarcastic comment, but a deep, systemic doubt about whether she was even capable. And right then, as she's looking at her uniform, it just clicks. She realized she'd won that little war of words in the office, but that wasn't going to be enough, not even close. Arguing and explaining wasn't going to change anyone's mind. Now, her real answer, that was going to be written in the work itself, in the long days and even longer nights ahead. Her actions, They were going to have to speak way, way louder than all the doubts swirling around her. That was the only way. So it makes you wonder, right? When you're up against that kind of deep-seated prejudice, is a clever comeback ever really enough? Or is respect something that can only be earned through relentless, undeniable proof of just how good you are?